Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1606, written by hautefries, The Piercer That Defied Reality. So a while back, my kid got their ears pierced. They saved up their money and I took them to a place locally that specializes in piercing, which is very highly rated. I've had piercings done there, etc. It is the kind of place where you have your piercing done with a needle and then your jewelry, implant-grade titanium, is placed in the piercing. So the kid gets their ears pierced, a few weeks pass, and one day after school, they tell me the post of their earring is gone. The jewelry were flat back posts with a tube-like opening in the front. Google threadless flat-back earrings to get an idea of what they are like. Under closer examination, I realize the post is still there. It's just the back of the earring that has closed over it. I'm not entirely surprised. I assume my kid has got ears which will heal up in hours even after being pierced for years. We take them back to the shop and the piercer on duty is surprised that it could have happened so quickly, but then realizes there is still a small hole left and is able to pop the back of the earring through it. This causes a little pain and inflammation, so they recommended swapping out the current post for a longer one to avoid this ever happening again. They check the other ear and say it looks fine, so we will only do that one side. They change out the post and give the old one to me in a tiny Ziploc baggie, which I placed into a pocket in my wallet. We go on our way and the ear heals normally. But then a couple weeks later, my kid starts complaining of a bump on their head, behind their ear. I took a look and sure enough, there's a red bump on their head in that little soft spot like in between the jaw and the skull. There's no wound and it doesn't look too serious. So I suggest it might just be the longer earring post on that side rubbing against their head while they sleep or something. And we agree to just leave it alone and see if it goes away on its own. Fast forward a couple more weeks and my kid brings it up again. I was surprised it hadn't gone away, so I decided to take another look at it. This time it's bigger and looks kind of inflamed and like it may have had a head on it, like a pimple. I ask if I can try squeezing it and my kid agrees. I do and a bunch of pus and blood comes out. But it doesn't seem empty. There's a weird hole. My kid is only 9.5 years old at the time, so they tell me they want me to stop messing with it because it hurts. I said okay, but I should clean it up first. I get some peroxide and a Q-tip to swab the hole, and I push it on it one last time to get any remaining blood, and something pops out. It's an earring post, but the longer replacement one put in the ear at the shop is still very much in place. I am very confused, because where did it come from? And how did it get in there? The post has 0 sharp edges. Also, I distinctly remember being given the post that was taken out of his ear and putting it in my wallet. But it has to be that post, right? Because where else could it have come from? So I go get my wallet and look inside, and the little baggie with the old post is still there where I'd put it. The one that popped out of my kid's head is identical to the one in the baggie. I'm on the phone with my kid's other parent now, trying to explain it, and they think I'm messing with them. I swear I'm not. I have no clue where it came from, or how it embedded itself in my kid's head the way it did. The hole took a long time to heal, and left a really dark scar from having a dull piece of metal deeply embedded under the skin the way it did. I still have 0 explanation for how this happened. It's been over a year. Every theory anybody has suggested just does not work, and there's no logical explanation. It's so inconsequential, but so fully bizarre. My kid's other parent tells me not to bring it up or talk about it because it freaks them out too much, and they feel uncomfortable with there being no way to explain what happened. The steps the piercing studio took made me feel confident in saying there was no error on their end. Lastly, it's okay if you don't believe this happened. I promise I didn't make it up, but it truly is so weird and unexplainable that I get why it's difficult to believe it happened the way I've described. Case notes for file 1606, The Piercer That Defied Reality. By process of elimination, I'm stumped on this one. It can't be DOP, because objects don't disappear and then reappear inside your body, and thank God they don't. Never heard of that happening at least. The only thing that sort of fits is alien abduction stories where people have something implanted in them, but I don't think that's related. It can't be quantum immortality, because both you and your kid notice the anomaly. If it was quantum immortality, only one of you would notice. And it doesn't strike me as any sort of behavior from a guardian angel or even a prankster, poltergeist, or a dungeon master in the simulation. I think it's just down to a classic glitch in the matrix error. The server glitched out. But at least the post reappeared somewhere that wasn't too egregious, you know. Imagine it reappeared inside his eyeball or something inside his brain. Could have been way worse, but it's still weird. Case file number 1607, written by GlitchyGmDrP, The Enchanted Newborn. This happened about 13 years ago. I think about it often. I have two sons, 14 and almost 13. About 13 years ago, I had my newborn son laying on my bed while I was folding laundry on the same bed. I turned to look at my 1-year-old for literally a minute. When I turned back around, my newborn son was gone. No baby, just blankets. I looked through the small pile of clothes. Nothing, just a pacifier he was using, the feety pajamas he was wearing, and the blanket he was swaddled in. He had absolutely vanished. I looked everywhere around the bed, I even looked under the bed, and he was completely gone. I ran outside to see if his dad somehow had him. He did not. We panicked and tore up the house. About 10 or so minutes later, I hear a baby coo under the bed. I yelled to his dad. His dad Hulk lifts up the entire bed, and there he is, laying directly in the middle, under the bed in only a diaper. It was almost as if he had just fallen straight through the bed, straight through the blanket, through the clothes, just right onto the floor. He didn't even make a sound. He didn't even cry until the bed flew up and scared him. I think about this all the time. Hey, did you know I have an awesome Patreon? Head on over and check it out. The link is in the description. I cover horror stories and also uncut reactions to shows I've never seen before. Now to the case notes. Case notes for file 1607, The Enchanted Newborn. So we know that items can disappear. Pretty common knowledge, I could even say. But humans, living beings, can also vanish. And by vanish, what I really mean is de-render. Sometimes they're ported around via space-time portals, wormholes, if you will, to different locations in time or space. But also sometimes the universe glitches out and simply de-renders the object, or person in this case. And I'm wondering, is it always an error? Or maybe there's a reason to it. Maybe it's related to soul transfers. Maybe if an incoming soul is coming into the host body, maybe it's difficult to do that when the person is currently rendered in reality. Now time for the quote of the day. Clothes make the man. Naked people have little to no influence on society. Mark Twain. Sometimes I've wondered, and I think probably most people have at some point, how would society function if there were no clothes? No one could wear clothes. People just walked around naked 24/7. Well, beyond the hygiene concerns, maybe it would be a good thing. There would be more vulnerability, nothing to hide behind, just this is who we are. Plus, it would be good motivation for people to get in shape, which is not a bad thing. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.